On the surface, Let's Build a Zoo looks to be nothing more than a simple zoo building tycoon game. You own a zoo, you build enclosures, you populate those enclosures with animals, you bring guests into your park, you make money, rinse and repeat. However, Let's Build a Zoo is actually kind of horrific. It has more in common with something like the island of Dr. Moreau rather than Planet Zoo, and I can't quite believe I'm saying that, but there is a dark, twisted undertone to this game that I absolutely loved. Okay, so some context. I got a beta invite to play Let's Build a Zoo this weekend, and I worked my way through the 45-minute demo, and I found it to be one of the most exciting games I've played all year. I honestly cannot wait to play the final version of this wonderful game. In the first half an hour of Let's Build a Zoo, things proceed as you'd expect. You're in charge of managing a zoo. You build enclosures, populate them with animals such as rabbits, capybaras, or horses. You make sure they have access to fresh water, you give them toys to play with, you feed them every single day. Guests are then shipped into your park by the busload, they pay the entrance fee if they're happy with how much it costs, they have a wander around, they look at your animals, they might buy something from the gift shop, or maybe a cheeky hot dog, then they leave. It's up to you to make sure that guests are happy, that the park is well presented, that the animals are taken care of, and that you're making a profit. So far, so simple. And for what it's worth, these basic mechanics are very, very well implemented. I was struck pretty much straight away by the humorous undercurrent that runs throughout Let's Build a Zoo. The game not only resembles classic Bullfrog games such as Theme Park, it has the same humour that made those games so memorable. Humour that's built into the mechanics themselves. When managing your hot dog stand, you can move a slider to adjust whether the hot dog is made out of guts and eyeballs, or how much prime meat is in there. You make more of a profit if you use bad ingredients, and you can offset how bad it is by adding loads of MSG, which covers the bad flavours. It feels like a bit of an evolution on the classic theme park mechanic where you could oversalt your fries so your guests were compelled to drink more pop. But here it's almost more twisted and funnier and also a really cool mechanic. You can even add more caffeine to your drinks so your guests will run around the park faster, but they might die of a heart attack, so you have to be careful. It's rare to play a management game that has such a strong sense of humour, where that humour is actually a gameplay mechanic. It's really refreshing to see, and within 5 minutes of playing Let's Build a Zoo, this felt like something very special. Once you've built an enclosure, you can either trade animals or adopt them from a world map. You start off with some rabbits, and once your 2 rabbits breed, you can then trade your baby rabbit for another set of animals. It's a really nice, cool way of trying to get more animals into your park by purposefully breeding certain ones so that you can effectively swap them for better ones from other parks around the world. However, you can also buy animals off the black market by clicking on a Joe Exotic analog who walks around your park, which is pretty fun. The animations on the animals are super cute. They jump and bounce around their enclosures in a really satisfying way, and if you buy them a trampoline, they just bounce on it for hours. This is a horse on a trampoline. This made me proper belly laugh when I first saw it. However, that dark undertone that I mentioned at the start of the video comes in the form of gene splicing. You can splice animal DNA together in order to create horrific monsters that will appeal to more customers who want to come and visit your park. You can have a hippo body with a rabbit head, or a snake body with a rabbit head. Basically, the more animals that you have in your park and research, you can then splice them together to create just absolute freaks of nature, like actual mistakes of God. Proof that there is no one looking over us in this cruel, chaotic universe. This is the main hook of the game, the idea that you can splice together hundreds of different animals to create your own twisted creations. And to be honest, it's a really fun, unique twist on this genre in general. There are lots of zoo management games out there. Obviously, the 2 big ones are Zoo Tycoon and the recently released Planet Zoo from a few years ago by Frontier, who made Planet Coaster. However, this feels like it has more in common with Parkitect. Parkitect released around the same time as Planet Coaster, but it took more influence from Roller Coaster Tycoon 1 and 2 rather than the third entry, which Planet Coaster was obviously based on. What I loved the most about Parkitect is that it was a management game first and foremost. It had such a strong mechanical foundation that made managing and tweaking the finer points of your park really easy and really fun. And Let's Build a Zoo feels very similar in that sense. Graphically, it looks gorgeous. I really like its pixel art style, which is very similar to things like Stardew Valley, but its base mechanics are so polished. Even in this early beta build I played, there's a lot of information that the game gives to you in a very easy, digestible way. If one of your enclosures needs more water, or your animals are bored or hungry, the game lets you know that straight away. If your ticket prices need to be adjusted, the game lets you know. There's a lot of nuance here, but it never feels overwhelming or confusing, which I think is the first hurdle that any management game has to overcome. Even in this early stage, I think Let's Build a Zoo has so much potential. When my 45 minutes were up, I just wanted to play more. I could have played this for 4 hours straight, and I still would have wanted to play more. There's just so much here that's fun and interesting. The game has a full morality system, which rewards you with different bonuses based on whether you've been good or evil. For instance, a guy came into my zoo and offered to paint my horses to look like zebras, so I could scam customers into thinking I had more exotic animals. Doing so would have given me a negative morality point. I chose not to in the end, but I really wish I had, because I wonder if there'd been any consequences for me doing so. I was desperate to splice more animals together, but unfortunately, like I say, this was a limited demo, but I think that is going to be the thing that keeps me coming back. What kind of twisted creations can I make, and just how messed up can I make them? This game already is so good. It's mechanically sound. It's super funny, and it has a really interesting hook that makes me want to come back for more. If this game isn't already on your radar, it should be. Let's Build a Zoo is honestly one of the most promising tycoon games I've played for a long time, and if you're a fan of Zoo Tycoon, if you're a fan of classic Bullfrog games, I think you need to keep your eye on Let's Build a Zoo. I know that I'll be following its development very closely, and I can't wait to play more. Side note, No More Robots is fast becoming my favourite video game publisher. They're responsible for publishing Descenders and Hypnospace Outlaw, two games I've spoken at length about on this very channel, and they seem to have a really good eye for publishing very well made games with innovative twists. So yeah, No More Robots is definitely a publishing label that we should all be keeping more of an eye on as well. So there we have it, a very small preview of Let's Build a Zoo. I played this earlier today and I just got really excited about talking about it on this channel. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a like, and please do subscribe for more videos about indie games that are worth your time. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.